As part of my role as Youth Engagement Officer, I do a lot of inputs in schools, colleges and to young people's groups around alcohol and drugs. This can start off with the STAR project, that's Stop, Think, Act and Reflect, and that's directed for Year 6 groups. And as part of that project, each pupil will get their own book, which is information all about around the law and around peer pressure, and it's theirs to keep and to refer back to as they progress through school. Other work that our team do could be something bespoke to a school. We tend to find that schools will call us when they've got a localised problem with 1, 2 or slightly more pupils. We'll then go into the school and sit down with those pupils and talk about more in depth about around drugs and alcohol misuse.
I've just come to tell you my story in the hope that it inspires you in some ways and you don't make the same mistakes I did. In a nutshell, I went to school up in between Liverpool and Manchester, took my business degree over to Phoenix, Arizona, worked my way up and became a millionaire in the stock market as a young person. The money went right to my head. I started throwing rave parties with it, got people bringing ecstasy over, so I was not only breaking the law. SWAT team smashed my door down, and I ended up in this jail that's got the highest rate of death in America, where not only were the gang members murdering the prisoners, even the guards were murdering the prisoners. So I served just under 6 years on my 9.5-year sentence, first time non-violent drug offender, and I'm banned from America for life. First year in the UK, I'm on the dole, live with my parents, can't get a job because criminal record pops up at the job interview process. Also certain countries I could never travel to. 3 months ago, I got an email asking me to go and speak in Japan. Contacted the Japanese embassy in London. They said, because you've got a drug conviction in America, you would never get into Japan. So I lost the opportunity. Also wasn't thinking about my mum and dad, getting my party friends high. They're 5,000 miles away, they'll never find out. 2 months after my arrest, on this cover story out of Phoenix, English Sean's Evil Empire, 10 pages long, everything I did and 10 times more. They portray me to be a cross between Walter White and a vampire. So I'm thinking, my mum and dad have not got to see this. It's going to break their hearts. I call my aunt, don't let my mum see this. It's too late, Sean, there's an internet version. Over Christmas, I spent time at my parents' house. I can still see the hurt and pain on their faces that I've caused them. People say, Sean, you've lived this wild and crazy life. Is there anything you would change? As well as regretting putting people on the road of drug use, I want to take that hurt and pain off my family's faces. But I can't, and it makes me sick to my stomach. I've got to live with that for the rest of my life. Now, you all look like model students. So did I back then. If any of you feel that you've got this risk-taking, adrenaline junkie side to you like I've got, that might lead to getting into some kind of trouble down the road, you just got to ask yourselves, out of all your interests, what are the positive ones you can keep channeling that energy into so nothing bad will happen to you?
I'm Anne Nichols. I'm the Youth Detached Team Manager for South Worcestershire. Part of managing the detached team over time, it's become relevant that some of the behaviour is connected to drugs use and things like that. So it's about supporting those young people, diverting them and raising awareness on what drugs can do, the health side and the criminal side and things like that.
Okay. My name is Jan Humphreys. I'm a police community support officer, but my new role is now a Safer Schools officer based here at Bishop Road. So today we've been doing some drug awareness sessions with the children here from age 11 to around about 16 years old, just to try and introduce them to some drugs that maybe they've never heard about, but potentially they might hear about now they're getting to the age where they're going out a bit more, you know, parents aren't with them a lot, and they're getting to know more friends around school, around colleges, and hopefully educating them enough so they don't actually want to touch it or get involved with people that are doing drugs, and trying to get them to come forward with information and tell somebody if they've got any problems. And we introduced the beer goggles to try and give them a bit of reality of what would happen in a situation where they'd try alcohol, to try and prevent them from maybe getting hold of it, maybe they know friends that can get hold of it, kids now can quite easily access alcohol through other people, so it gives them that realistic kind of feeling as to how it would feel if you were to try and get drunk. The reason why I do a lot of preventative work in schools and why my role has come about is because some kids unfortunately don't actually know these days what the consequences are of taking drugs or alcohol, especially in terms of the law. They think that if you can do it and get away with it, it's not going to affect you. But when you start talking to them and start saying, well, how it's going to affect your future, people will start thinking differently. And for us, we get a lot of children that then say, actually, I didn't think about that. I'm never going to touch it because I want to get a good job, because I want to get good money, and so on.
Today I've learnt that drugs can be taken in many forms, not just one. For instance, cocaine can be smoked or snorted. Date rape drug can be put into drinks, which I already knew, but also in business cards. So there's different ways that drugs can be taken.
The beer goggles made me feel sick and very dizzy. It was green, which was weird.
In this session, I have learnt that there are a lot more drugs than the usual ones that we all know. I have learnt that having a criminal record by doing drugs and selling them will make your future very bad.
Wearing the beer goggles made me feel dizzy, and the nighttime ones were green, and it made it look like it was sloping down, and that was weird. Yeah.
From today's session, I found really useful learning the different consequences of different drugs and learning about all the different ones there are, and not just the usual street ones we know about.
We want to make sure that we're not criminalising young people. So how do we do this? We make sure that they know around the law exactly about possession, exactly about who's a drug dealer, what is drug dealing. But it's also about those health implications, isn't it? And again, it's talking about our experiences as police officers. We're not there to lecture them, but we're there to give them enough information that they can make informed decisions for themselves.